The life of an ordinary man suddenly changed after letting two extraordinary women rent rooms in his house. His name is Rin, who dreamed of finding a job with a good salary and marrying a cute girl. Since he had just finished his studies, he immediately started looking for a job, but it was not easy. After several hours of searching in the city, he decided to rest in a nearby square. After a while, a woman approached him who wanted to ask him a question. She was looking for a place, so she showed him a map that she was carrying. Rin was surprised. It was actually his house which the woman was looking for. She said that she intended to live in this house, and only then he remembered that he made some rooms in his house as rental space. So he told her that he was the owner of the house, and because of this, they decided to go there together. While they were on the bus, the woman introduced herself as Lily. After a few hours of travel, they arrived at Rin's hometown. While they were walking to Rin's house, the wheel of Lily's suitcase suddenly broke, and its handle had been broken too. Because of this, Rin offered to help Lily to carry her suitcase, but it turned out to be too heavy. He was surprised that Lily was able to carry it on her shoulder easily. They continued walking until Rin accidentally saw Lily's strange ears, which disappeared immediately, so he thought that he was just hallucinating. When Lily saw the bats, she told Rin that he should go home fast. Rin was confused and was against what she wanted, but Lily forced him to run away from there. It was only a few moments when the bats reappeared to them, so Lily decided to transform into her true form. Rin was shocked, and Lily pushed him away when a female vampire attacked, and these two strange girls fought. When the vampire flew away, it suddenly disappeared, and Lily immediately thought that it had gone to Rin. As the vampire approached Rin, Lily quickly ran towards them. That's why the vampire flew away, picked up the stone bricks, and threw them at the vampire. When she hit its wing, the vampire immediately disappeared. Lily had also returned to her human form and decided not to go with Rin to his house for his safety. She was walking away. Rin chased after her because he was worried about her. Rin told Lily to sleep at his house for her safety too. When they arrived at Rin's house, he showed her the living room, kitchen, and the bathroom, then he took her to her bedroom. The next day, Rin suddenly woke up because of Lily's scream, so he went to see her right away. It turned out that she was afraid of Rin's cat named Raleigh. Rin showed her that his pet was harmless. Then Lily said that there was a problem with the TV, but when he opened the curtain, they saw many bats flying outside. Lily immediately transformed upon seeing them. When Rin closed the curtain, the bats, who turned out to be the vampire the other night, forced its way into his house. Then she took Rin, and this started the fight between the two girls again. Rin tried to talk to them so the two would stop fighting each other. While the two were arguing, the vampire's stomach suddenly rumbled. Because of this, Rin prepared something for them to eat, and this was the moment that the woman introduced herself as Vivian. They were also surprised to know that Vivian also planned to rent a room in the house. Rin thought that it would be better to have two tenants, so he agreed to this, but Lily immediately opposed it. Because of this, the two of them argued again, and Lily did not mean to break the table. In Rin's annoyance, he asked Lily to clean the area, then he accompanied Vivian to her room. Since Vivian left her things outside, she jumped out of the window to take them so she could pay the rent. But when she took her wallet, her money was no longer there, and the contents of her bag were only leaves. She said that she might have lost it when she had the fight with Lily the other night, that's why she was blaming the wolf girl. She cried and asked Rin if there was a nearby cemetery in the area where she could stay for a while. Rin felt sorry for Vivian, so he allowed her to live in his house. He told her that she could pay the rent once she had her money again. Vivian knew that it would take her a long time before she could have the money. Because of this, she suggested that she could do some chores and be the cook. They were amazed that she could cook food, and when they tasted what she prepared, they loved it. Lily suddenly heard Rin's cell phone ringing, so she took it to give it to him. When Rin answered, he was reprimanded by the one who called him, who was a woman. It turned out to be an interview invitation from a company, but the woman did not introduce herself and just asked him to come to the office. When he arrived at the said place, the woman called him again. He was told to look for the telephone pole which was just right in front of him. Then he was asked to put his hand on it and turn his head in different directions. When he looked up, he was shocked by what he saw. He was told to remove his hand from the pole, and that was the moment that he was sucked into this place. When he opened his eyes, he was already in front of the big door of a mansion. It opened on its own, and after a few moments, an elemental servant came to him. This led him to the front door of a room. After that, the servant left immediately. When he entered the room, he saw the woman who invited him for the interview. According to this woman, he was in the bastard office at note EN35 of space. She introduced herself as Raven, and she would be his boss. She asked Rin to come closer, and when she stared into his eyes, he was startled. So Raven pulled out a chair and asked him to sit. Rin asked why he was invited for an interview since he did not apply in this company nor see any commerce company outside. So Raven frankly told the truth and said that he was chosen by the space. The space was an affiliate department of the Sealing Empire, which was tasked with managing the world, and it was their job to keep global harmony. Rin would be assisting her to stop those who have goals to destroy the world or had plans for celestial body evolutions. Aside from those pieces of information, Rin found out that his two tenants, Lily and Vivian, were the reason why he passed the preliminary exam for this job. Then he was suddenly taken to a room, and Raven explained more clearly what he would do in this job. First, he needed to accept more tenants like Lily and Vivian, and those creatures were also called the outcasts. Second, he would support Raven in preventing any group who would attempt to reverse human evolution through artificial ways. She added that it was also his job to keep his tenants out of trouble. Rin asked what would happen if he refused all of this. According to Raven, his memory of the past 2 days would be deleted, then Lily and Vivian would have to leave his house. They went back to Raven's office again, and Rin made a clarification that he should not do anything bad in this job. Raven promised him that this would not happen because they were not evil and they wanted peace in the world. They also discussed his salary and showed him the contract. After he signed it, he was sent back to his house. He showed the contract to Lily and Vivian and told them everything about what happened. Both of them did not know Raven, but because Rin was assigned to treat them well, Vivian thought that Raven was not on the side of the demon hunters. They also discussed these demon hunters in their conversation. Vivian said that these people were hybrid monsters with half-human blood, they were the enemies of the outcasts like them, and in a long battle, none of them was able to destroy each other. But through a religious organization, they had already come into contact with people and became a threat to them. Vivian added that if the demon hunters find them, they had to leave the house. Rin would be safe from their enemies. While Rin was resting, he dreamed that he was in another place. He immediately thought that it was just a dream, so he slapped himself, but he was only hurt as if he was in the real world. He started walking but came across some wolves that chased after him. He fell to his knees, and a wolf attacked him, and this was the moment that he woke up with Lily's help. When he touched his hair, he got a wolf fur. After observing this, Vivian said that she could not even feel dark magic from it. He also let Lily smell it, and according to her, she was not familiar with its smell. Vivian had ring shoes from 2 silver armlets which she got in an Egyptian village hundreds of years ago. She was worried and was sure that what Rin had experienced in his dream was not ordinary, and the armlets had the ability to destroy evil forces once he was one of those. She also tried to use her blood magic on him, but to her surprise, it did not work. She used another technique, but it only worked on Lily, who immediately fell asleep, and it had no effect on Rin either. Suddenly, Raven called him and told him to come to her office the next day. When he arrived at Raven's office, he was surprised that the elemental servant did not appear. Suddenly, Raven came, who was wearing her gardener's outfit. Rin also noticed a big sword that she was carrying, and according to Raven, it was her warship chopping blade. When they entered her office, Raven handed over a data terminal. She told him that he could use it if his life was in danger while he's on a mission. Upon hearing this, Rin immediately realized that he could die in this job, but Raven assured him that as long as he had some work left to do, they could always find a new body for his soul. Because of this, he seemed like an immortal while he was doing this job. After that, Raven took him to the enhancement center. They had to conduct his enhancement test as a new examiner. It was a body adjustment that would give him a special ability. Raven brought out something that was shaped like a coffin and instructed him to enter it. Because of Rin's fear, he hesitated to enter the machine, so Raven just kicked him to get in there. Then Raven started the enhancement test, and when it suddenly disappeared, Raven was worried and wondered if she had pressed the right button. When Rin woke up, he went back to the place that he dreamed about the other day. While he was walking, the data terminal activated and informed him that Raven had pressed another button, and because of this, his enhancement test was special. Rin was surprised that this thing was talking, and since he felt very cold, he begged the device if it could give something to wear against the cold. But according to the data terminal, he was not Doraemon, and he could only answer questions since he had no magic. They continued walking, and he asked the terminal about the current location. It answered that they were in the dream dimension or a parallel space of the real world. It added that if Rin died there, this would also happen to him in real life. Rin suddenly heard something, and after a while, the wolves that had attacked him when he first came there appeared to him again. The data terminal quickly hid in his pocket, and the wolves came toward him. When one of them attacked, so he counted it, but two other wolves rushed and bit him. Fortunately, something activated, and it was a shield that protected him from the fangs of the wolves. That's why he was not hurt. This was the rigid shelled enhancement he got from the enhancement chamber. Suddenly, the wolves made a howling sound, and their leader heard it. Rin ran fast, but the leader of a wolf still caught up with him. It immediately bit him, but his shield protected him once again, and this damaged the wolf's fangs. The wolf spoke and asked him about his purpose in coming to the area. Rin said that he was just a traveler, but the wolf soon found out that he was lying based on his smell. Then he learned from this wolf that there were also people living in this place. Apart from the big wolves, the hungry little wolves also came there. Rin made a deal with the leader of the wolves that if he was taken to the place where people live, he would find a dentist to fix his fangs. It agreed to his offer and immediately took him to the village where there were people's huts. When they arrived, Rin entered a hut and saw a steel plate with something engraved on it, and it was familiar to him. Suddenly, the whole area lit up, and after a few moments, the gust of wind got stronger. He immediately took the steel plate that he found and was able to return to the real world. Then when he mentioned it to Raven about the rigid shield that he got and other than that, he did not notice anything unusual. Raven told him that he still had other skills because she added them, and these included reaction speed, strength, recovery speed, and many others. Rin asked about the dream dimension, so she gave more information about this parallel world. She mentioned that a normal person could not go there without using a special technique. Because of this, Rin mentioned that he had been there before while he was sleeping. He also showed the wolf fur that he got when he first came there and gave it to Raven. He remembered the steel plate which he took from the hut, but he could not find it. Before he left the mansion, Raven told him about the new tenant whom he had to pick up in Europe. The plane tickets were also ready, and he found out that Lily and Vivian would go to this country with him. The day came when he took a flight to go to England, and while they were on the plane, they talked about York Ford. According to the information provided by Raven, they would find the new tenant in this place. When they landed, they went to the hotel where they would stay. Rin looked at the map on the data terminal and noticed that something was wrong with it. He tried to talk to the data terminal, but suddenly the image of Raven appeared on it. Rin said that he could not understand the language written on the map. It was only here that Raven remembered that the data terminal system had not been updated. Because of this, Raven immediately updated the data terminal system. While they were eating, Vivian ordered her pet to look around first, and it discovered something which was reported to her right away. So she told Rin that they should go back to their room because it was dangerous if they stayed there. Then a man who introduced himself as Sama approached their table and said that he wanted to talk to them. He told them that he knew the location of the York Ford that they were looking for. He added that this place was a wasteland. Rin thought that the new tenant might be there because he was also an outcast. Sama warned them that they might see ghosts in York Ford Castle if they decided to go there. When they got back to their room, Vivian told Rin that she could sense a demon hunter in the hotel. There were demon hunters' incantations spread throughout the area which were discovered by her pet. And she had a hunch that Sama might be this demon hunter. Suddenly, they heard a man's voice, and when they peeked at the other balcony, they saw Sama, who immediately admitted that he was a demon hunter. Vivian laughed at this because she could not believe that a demon hunter would confess to people whom he did not know. So she thought that he was just pretending. And, when she was about to enter their room, Sama quickly transported and approached her, but he was out of balance, causing him to fall. Luckily, Rin quickly got a hold of his leg in order for Vivian not to doubt him. Samba showed them the same paper that her pet had seen, to pay his gratitude for Rin in saving him. He offered that he would take them to York Ford the next day. Vivian agreed to this because she was thinking that Samba might have a plan regarding the new tenant. So, it would be better to have him come with them so they could watch his actions. While they were on the train heading to York Ford, they saw on the news an interview with a man who introduced himself as Angus, claiming that he saw a ghost in York Ford Castle. They also learned that there was a reward from the UK government to anyone who could fix the problem in the castle. Because of this, Vivian was more interested in solving the problem about the ghost that appeared there. Suddenly, there were 3 weird-looking tourists who entered and were also passengers on the train. Vivian thought that they might also have a plan to get the reward. When they arrived at the place, they immediately went to where they would stay, and they learned that Angus was also the owner of the inn. When Vivian and Lily went to their room, Samba asked Angus about York Ford Castle. Angus told them what he knew about everything that happened in the castle. After their conversation, Ren went to Vivian to tell her what they found out from Angus. But she did not believe these stories and said that she already investigated the castle through repetition. They found out that they suspected that the new tenant whom they were looking for had something to do with the rumored ghost. And when Rin returned to their room, Samba almost dropped the picture frame which she was holding. Rin managed to catch it and saw the picture of a woman whom Samba referred to as his sister. Ren asked him why he was not with his sister because she seemed to be a strong demon hunter. Samba answered saying that his sister was not a demon hunter, and the reason why he became a demon hunter was to protect her. But right now, he did not know where she was. After midnight, the 3 who were with him on the train decided to go to the castle together with Angus. It turned out that Samba was already watching them, and while Rin was sound asleep, Vivian entered his room. She woke him up to let him know that Samba had left. Vivian also found out about the departure of the 3 tourists who were with them. She wanted to go to the castle because she was worried that the new tenant that they were looking for might be harmed. So they went to Lily, who was still dreaming that she was enjoying her meal. Meanwhile, Angus and his companions did not know that Samba was on the top of the car. But one of the pet snakes of Angus's passengers came out, and Samba was shocked and was attacked by it. Ren and the girls were on their way to the castle. Then something activated, and Rin was able to use his new ability. Through his sharp eyes, he found out that Lily had fallen asleep again. So when they went down to check on her, Lily accidentally leaned on a rock that suddenly collapsed. Vivian said that this was a shortcut to the castle. They entered it, and after a few minutes of walking, they reached the location. Aside from Angus and the other exorcists, Samba was also there, who started to act as a demon hunter. While Ren and the girls were walking around the castle, they suddenly heard something and saw a light ahead. When they saw Samba wearing his uniform as a demon hunter, Vivian thought that it would be better if they avoided him. They arrived at the church where the sound was coming, but after a while, they noticed that another group was approaching. So they quickly hid to make this group leave the place. Vivian thought of scaring them, and the plan worked and scared the group of exorcists, who immediately left the area. That was the moment that Lily removed the large rock which was blocking the church door. When they saw something engraved on the stone that they could not understand, Rin used the data terminal to translate it. Then Vivian instructed Lily to do what was indicated there. Because of this, they saw the secret tunnel below, and the data terminal confirmed that the new tenant was in there. When Samba saw a big rock, he used his incantation paper to make it float. He found a hole underneath it, but the incantation paper which he put on the stone had been removed. So before the big rock could crush him, he was forced to enter the hole. While they were looking for the new tenant, they saw Angus, who was still there. To find out his true purpose in coming to the castle, Vivian thought of using her magic to make them look like ghosts. When Angus saw them, he was scared to death. So when they questioned him, they found out that the ghost stories were just made up so that more tourists would come to the area and his business would benefit from it. Since Vivian's magic would soon disappear, they immediately ordered Angus to leave there to prevent him from seeing them. Lily saw the engraved words on the wall, which according to Vivian were letter runes or magic letters used to suppress evil. She added that the demon hunters were the ones who usually do this. Vivian was able to translate it, and she found out that there was a demon sealed in this place. When she touched the wall, the letter runes responded to her magical power. Suddenly, multiple arrows were shot at them, but they were saved when Rin was able to create a shield to protect them. Because of this, they decided to leave that area immediately. When they were far away, they saw a big rock rolling toward them. They quickly stood aside, and when the rock got past them, Lily chased after it, thinking that it was a toy. So Ren and Vivian also ran after her. When Lily fell into the trap, Vivian quickly saved her. Meanwhile, Samba reached the area where Rin and the girls came from, and when he also touched the letter runes, he was shot with a lot of arrows too. When Vivian and Lily reached the floor, Rin fell into the trap too. After that, the girls noticed the glowing gold coins in front of them. When they were about to touch these treasures, Rin immediately stopped them. That was a moment when the treasures gradually disappeared, and they found out that it was just a trap. Rin told them not to be fooled because there were no treasures but only traps. They continued their search for the new tenant, but they noticed that both walls were moving toward them. Lily was about to try to stop it, but she suddenly weakened, and so did Vivian. Ren tried to stop the wall. They were surprised that it stopped moving. The girls' strength also returned, so they decided to leave before the walls moved again. After Samba survived the arrows, he also experienced other traps which Rin and the girls also experienced. On the other hand, while Ren, Lily, and Vivian were resting, the ghost knights appeared and chased after them. Lily attacked and defeated one of the ghost knights, and she also destroyed the wall in front of them. Then Vivian made a way to block the other ghost knights. Lily noticed that there were writings on the sword that she snatched from the enemy. When Vivian read it, they also found out about the magic stone. She had a hunch that this magic stone had the ability to summon demons, and the ghost knights acted as guards to prevent the seal from being removed from the magic stone. Because this magic stone was disturbing, Rin thought that they should stay away from it, but when he looked up, he noticed something. It turned out to be the magic stone, which was surrounded by chains. As Samba continued to walk, he felt a strong magical power from the hole, but since he had nowhere else to go, he found another way. Suddenly, they felt a tremor, which caused a chain to be removed from the magic stone, and something suddenly exploded from above. They heard Samba's laugh. At the same time, there were many ghost knights that came out and surrounded them. When Vivian was getting ready for a fight, someone suddenly attacked the ghost knights, and it was Samba. He told them that he would take care of the enemies and showed his flying skills, but Samba forgot that he could not fly, so he ended up on the floor. When the ghost knights started to approach them, Samba threw a magical powder at them. As soon as they stopped moving, Samba attacked the enemies one by one. Meanwhile, Ren and the girls did not realize that they were already surrounded by the ghost knights, but Vivian was not worried about them because she knew that her power could defeat the enemies. Then she asked Rin and Lily for time so she could prepare for her technique. Because of this, Ren and Lily were the ones fighting against the ghost knights who attacked them. As Samba continued to attack, he suddenly ran out of ammunition. Because of this, he could not do anything but beg the ghost knights who were approaching him to spare his life. When Vivian completed her technique, she immediately used it on the ghost knights, but they were surprised, because her power was just absorbed by the magic stone. It emitted a red light into the sky, and after a while, meteors fell from the sky and landed around the castle. Then they saw a huge demon. When it came down, Ren's shield was deactivated, and the demon picked him up with Samba. After it left, Vivian and Lily immediately followed the demon. When they were far away, the demon immediately released Rin and Samba. Vivian released a strong power, and they saw a red moon at the same time. But they were surprised when the demon suddenly mentioned the word landlord. Then he asked Rin if he was his landlord. When the data terminal said that their mission had been completed, they found out that the demon was the new tenant that they were looking for. He introduced himself as Yezex. While he was playing with Samba, who was the one that woke him up, he accidentally let him go. When Rin remembered the ghost knights in the castle, he was worried about it. So when Yezex heard this, he immediately shot a meteor at the castle. After a while, they heard the voices of people approaching their area, and they were worried that they might be seen. Yezex was about to throw a meteor at these people as well, but Rin immediately stopped him. Since Yezex was able to transform into a human form, Rin asked him to do it. This was part 1 of our story. Wait for part 2 on the next Monday. Please, like, share, and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you. Ciao.